Hi, and welcome to today's book chat. So today I'm going to be talking about the novel 11/22/63 by Stephen King. It's over 1,000 pages, and as you can see, it's quite the hefty tome. Um, but it certainly, for the most part, didn't feel like it. I found that I got through the book, or at least I moved through the book at a fairly good pace. Though somewhere about probably 60% in, there was 1 to 200 pages where I was kind of like, okay, where is this going? I'm getting bored. But outside of that, I was completely engaged. Now, this is the second fiction book of King's that I've read, and honestly, I wasn't very impressed with the first one, which also happened to be the first book he ever wrote, Carrie. But this book I was very impressed by. It had so much to it. It had kind of quasi historical fiction. It had a supernatural aspect. It had, um, well, time travel. I don't think that gives much away from the book. It has romance and love and not horror, but certainly crime and some terror and exploring the dregs of humanity and the beauty of the humanity and the way that people can step out of their own lives to try to do better for the people around them. And I really appreciated all those aspects of the book. So if you've not heard anything about it, basically the premise is that a man in present day, a high school teacher, gets an opportunity to go back in time and not only change the history for a man that he knew who had suffered a horrible life-altering experience at the hands of this man's father, but also to potentially prevent the assassination of JFK, and he hopes save millions of lives from the way history would be changed if JFK hadn't died. So that's the premise, the long and the short of it. And basically, if anything in that compels you, I would say give this book a chance. And it just has so much. And one thing that I really appreciated is I got to a point where I thought I knew where the story was going. And that's probably around the point where I felt a little boring because I couldn't see the way in which King would change the direction from the direction that it just seemed to be flowing. It was one that I personally found to be unsatisfying. And he completely flipped that around. So that was very enjoyable. My husband actually read this book first. I bought it for him as a present. And he actually would have liked, I think, the direction that it was going initially, but I was much more pleased with the second. So depending on what kind of a reader you are and what you enjoy, you might not love it as much as I did, but it's certainly worthwhile. And one thing, I think my favorite thing was the dancing. I don't often think about dancing when it comes to books, but just the resonance that Stephen King created, and the beauty of intimacy, I suppose. All right, that's enough. So if you head over to my website, you can find links to the book, a little bit more of my thoughts perhaps, and you can also sign up to my mailing list and get the first 2 books in my women fiction series for free. And yeah, I would also love to hear your thoughts. So leave a comment.